In this battle, I am commanding Westphalia against the Kingdom of Asturias. So I want to show battles with the different factions against each other. And just picked a map at random here. I have 4 Saxon cavalry. I have 4 sword veterans. I have, let's see, 4 archers. I have, I thought I had a slinger, but apparently I don't. I have Sayax warriors, 2 axes in the center. I have my Hearth Guard, my Sayax warriors here. And that's my army, basically. So I'm coming up against the Asturias here. Asturias having levy skirmishers up front. Then 4 ambushers, and these ambushers have 5 javelins, very dangerous against cavalry. But Asturias only has sword cav, so Royal cav, Iberian cav, Iberian cav, Iberian cav, Iberian cav, Raider cav, Raider cav, Royal Guard cavalry, and for infantry only 4 armored swordsmen together with the ambushers. So a significant cavalry advantage here enjoyed by the by Asturias, because these Saxon cavalry, they do have spears, but they don't have any armor. And they are classified as skirmish cav, but they only have 2 ammunition. And I have to say, I quite like that. I like not all skirmish units having just a shit ton of ammunition and being able to... you have to be really conservative with your ammunition when you're using these guys. So I've set up my levy archers here to support my Saxon cavalry, doing a bit of fire damage, and then I'm going to chase the Iberian cav. Hopefully get some volleys off into their rear, and yeah, that's a lot of damage being done there against the Raider cav. Just pull out the Saxon cavalry. I took quite a few volleys there from the missile cav, so that was from the levy skirmishers. So not the best trade for me. It wasn't that bad. I think I came out on top. I even managed to get some shots off on the Royal cav. And still getting off shots on the Royal cav, so could be worth it, that engagement for me. In the center, I'm using heavy shot to try and do some damage against the lightly armored levy skirmishers. But I am very confident in my infantry, so I've put my sword veterans here in shield wall, giving them a 65% missile block. And I'm going to stand here and take fire from the levy skirmishers. The levy archers now focusing on the Iberian cav. And I'm just going to keep my guys here in shield wall and play very defensively. Send the Saxon cavalry out to meet the Raider cav head on, stop them from firing. So just sacrificing them to save the archers, create a bit of a melee blob here, so I can send in my axe warriors. And as you can see, the levy skirmishers are starting to drop. Over here, the Royal cav took a lot of precursor damage. I barely got the charge there. And the ambushers are coming in to support, but the axes will just rush in and do a lot of damage here to the Royal cav. Also able to engage the ambushers here. So I'm going to lose my very cheap 1 unit of Saxon cav, but I find that trade to be worth it, because now I'm able to fire point blank into the cav engagement. I have my axes here, and you can see the Raider cav is already starting to break. Over here as well, the Royal cav is getting ground down by multiple units. Iberian cav here, trying to chase into my levy archers, but I'm running them around here so that they get stuck on my axis. Using the Saxon cav here to be a bit annoying. And sending in the Sayax warriors. So now the archers are firing point blank into the Iberian cav. And I'm just going to take the engagement here with the Saxon cav. Essentially just trading away the Saxon cav for the ability to fire on the Iberian cav. Not the best angle, but I am able to take care of a Royal cav here with my axes. Able to take care of an Iberian cav, so I stop firing here to just kill the blob, so I can start supporting these fights. And over on the flanks, an Iberian cav has charged in together with ambushers. My Saxon cav hasn't done that much, but my axe warriors are doing a lot of damage, and so the Sayax warriors are doing a lot of damage as well. So I'm sending the axe warriors in here a bit prematurely, but at least they're able to engage the armored swordsmen while they're not in shield wall, which is helpful. Charging the sword veterans down the line here into the armored swordsmen. and won that flank relatively decisively. But the axes are taking a lot of fire, so they're actually dying. But I am winning on the flanks due to my infantry support. The Royal Cav gets into my skirmishers, but now they're going to die. And the Sayax warriors, the sword veterans, about even with the armored swordsmen. But now I'm going to be piling in the Sayaxes, and they're going to do a lot of damage there. So now the armored swordsmen are getting a penalty to their melee defense, because they're starting to become outnumbered. So the sword veteran, the armored swordsmen, run into my shield wall. The shield wall is very powerful when used like this. When there isn't any really high charge enemy infantry, you can use the shield wall to really control the battlefield. So that enables my archers to do some extended damage here to the Royal Guard cavalry, firing from multiple lines. I'm starting to go for the surround a bit here. So I just want to send in my axe warriors here in the center. I'm taking a lot of fire on my sword veterans, but they do have a 65% missile block. And nicely done here by Obelix in using his armored swordsman. He's using his very light ambushers to bait the charge from the axe warriors, and then the armored swordsmen do very well because the ambushers baited the charge. Now getting a rear charge here with the Saxon Cav into this engagement is going to be quite important. Using the Saxon Cav here just to stop the enemy general for a while. And my axes didn't do well there at all because they were baited very well. So the Saxon Cav is starting to lose here in this fight. But so are the armored swords. And the Royal Guard cavalry is taking a lot of damage from missiles. Rear charging here, the ambushers with my axe warriors, sending in the Sayax warriors from the flank. And let's see, no shield wall here, no shield wall here. So the enemy general is charging into my Hearthguard general here, which he probably shouldn't do because I have brace on my Hearthguard general. And no, I actually don't. I have fast charge, so a bit of a mistake there by me. But I am able to fire into the back of the Royal Guard cavalry with several units, so the Royal Guard cavalry is starting to drop. Dropping relatively quickly now. Saxon Cav about to bite the dust versus the ambushers. Unit of Levy skirmishers is running around the flanks, but the enemy general is dead, and there are basically only low morale units now left on the field. So the Hearthguard going to engage the armored swordsman, and they're going to do well against the armored swordsman. So just trying to break the armored swordsman here with some flaming arrows. Axe warriors, nice kills. And the Sayax warriors able to do what they do best, run in and support the fight. So Westphalia lacking cavalry, but their infantry selection is quite nice. The sword veterans crashing into the back of the armored swords here. And some of these ambushers have done a good job getting a decent charge here, because the ambushers have a very nice charge bonus for being such a cheap unit. So let's have a look at the kills here. The Royal Cav, not cost effective whatsoever. The ambushers, some of the most cost effective units in this battle. The armored swordsmen didn't do too well, and for the Saxons, the Sayaxes carried the day to a large extent, together with the archers, because these axes weren't managed really well. The axes that were managed well got 150 kills, but Obelix had some nice moves in the center where he baited my axes, and I didn't pay attention, and that meant that I only got 8 and 25 kills here. And the Saxon cavalry kills, not that impressive. Some of them were on enemy cavalry, but these guys were mainly about just dealing the damage to enemy cavalry, tying them down, and then allowing the infantry to get in the fight. And for archers to be alive for this long and to be able to use flaming ammunition for that long against enemy cavalry is very important. So the main threat here for the Saxons against the Kingdom of Asturias is going to be the melee cavalry. The Saxons can deal very easily with armored swordsmen. The Saxons can deal with the ambushers, but the Say axes and the axes start dying quickly if they get hit by Royal Cav and Iberian Cav. But I think this type of army that I brought is significantly easier to use and significantly more powerful than this Kingdom of Asturias army. Because even though some of these ambushers get nice kills, what this Kingdom of Asturias army lacks is staying power. So let's have a look at the Kingdom of Asturias, just see what they can bring here. Let's see, Age of Charlemagne, Kingdom of Asturias. So yeah, in terms of, you either have Royal Guardsmen or Armored Swordsmen, and I'm going to say Royal Guardsmen are not the most cost-effective units because they only have 40 melee damage and they come at a hefty price. Now I think you need Armored Swordsmen. I think swordsmen are nice as supporting units as well. Ambushers are a good idea for supporting cav fights because you only have sword cav, so you're going to need to do a lot of damage to enemy cavalry with your sword cav. But I would probably, let's see here if I can actually spend all my funds, because quite a lot of my units here are cheap. I would probably bring in some of these Ginites to do damage to enemy cavalry, to go for enemy skirmishers, and now I have a lot of funds left, so maybe I'm going to take out some ambushers. I have 1350 left. The problem is that I don't have that many sturdy units I can bring. So with max 4 of the same, with max 6 of the same, it gets a bit easier to select an army, but with max 4 of the same, it's a bit challenging actually with Kingdom of Asturias to maybe take out an Iberian Cav and just have one heavy Cav to charge into important enemy units. And you don't have any long range foot skirmishers, and that is a bit of an issue for Kingdom of Asturias. But I could bring let's see, an ambusher. No, I couldn't. I could bring another tribesman, for example, but they only have 2 ammunition, so why the hell would I bring tribesmen? It's the ambushers that are good. So let's try this again. 4 Iberian Cav, 4 Ginites. The ambushers are quite expensive. Let's see. So I can only bring 2 ambushers, and then I can bring a spare unit, for example, or I can put some upgrades on some of my units. Might be worth it, but upgrades cost 30 now. So yeah, let's just give all of these units 1 upgrade just for the hell of it. Let's give these units 1 upgrade just for the hell of it. But as you can see, this is an army that is very vulnerable to being flanked, and quite vulnerable if you can't use your light cavalry to get to enemy skirmishers. So it absolutely needs the Ginites to do a lot of damage to enemy cavalry so that the Iberian cavalry can join in and win. But it's not going to be easy for the Kingdom of Asturias because they lack good shock infantry. They only have sword cavalry units, and they don't have any long range foot skirmishers. So it's a faction that I find quite hard to use. Strength and honor.